Dear friends, there are so much of information. You can get it from everywhere. And sometimes we do not know what is true and what is fake. We do not know whether it's real, whether it's false. Too many news, wonderful things are being said, but is it true? Many things are being said about faith. Many things are being said about our church. Many things are being reflected on Pope Leo. But is that what he said? So, dear friends, sometimes we are being bombarded with so much of information which only leads us astray. Jesus says to his disciples today in the gospel, Jesus says, I have much more to tell you. So let's look at this context from this gospel reading when Jesus said, I have much more to tell you. I think Jesus, at the end of his earthly ministry, he looked at his disciples. He knew he taught them. He has healed them. He has loved them. And the disciples have seen him in many occasions, how he went about doing his ministry. Yet Jesus knew there is still so much they need to understand. So much that they are yet ready to grasp. Their minds, maybe for Jesus, the disciples' minds are still accustomed to the earthly ways of thinking, couldn't yet fully understand and comprehend the real spiritual depth of what Jesus' message was all about. Maybe the impending death and resurrection that Jesus will go through, would the disciples be able to understand why must Jesus go through that kind of scenario? Dear friends, when Jesus said, I have much more to tell you, most likely Jesus is also giving us a kind of witnessing that he understands human limitations. And he is patient. He doesn't overwhelm them with information which they cannot process in their hearts and minds. Instead, you'll find he promised them something beautiful. He promised them the arrival of the Spirit of truth. The Spirit, the Paraclete, the Advocate, that will not be introducing new things or new doctrines or new teachings, but the Spirit will teach and guide them to the truth. We must be led to the truth. There are so many false things are being said. There are so many stories that are not true is being manifested by people and said to people, and you find we need to know the truth. And Jesus has given the disciples the gift of the Spirit that will lead the disciples to the truth. Think about our lives, dear friends. When we look at our lives today, we often do feel overwhelmed by the complexities of faith at times. We really do not know what is happening. The challenges of living our life. How often we have asked questions and yet we have not got answers pertaining to our faith, to our church, to why must this be the things that we have to follow. And you find, dear friends, Jesus tells each one of us today, look, if you have the gift of the Spirit, that Spirit that is given to you will lead you, will manifest, will reveal to what Jesus and the kingdom is all about. Dear friends, we can go about reading a lot of things, and sometimes it only leads us astray. So Jesus knew the limitations of the disciples, that they cannot take everything, but he has given them the gift of the Spirit. For us too, dear friends, if this Jesus has given them that Spirit that will lead them to the truth, I believe that this same Jesus will also give that Spirit of truth and to lead us to the truth. So dear friends, when we look at what the reading is telling us and what can the Spirit help us, there are just three things. And I would like to end this homily by sharing these three things to you. Firstly, he calls us to trust. To trust that a lot of things will come to be revealed. Many things will be disclosed to you by the Spirit if we collaborate, we work with the Spirit that is deep inside us. Be patient and trust, because that Spirit will never disappoint you. That would be the first thing about the Spirit. The second thing is about the Spirit calls us to be open. When we are open to the Spirit, when we listen to the voice of the Spirit, dear friends, you will be able to move and go through the challenges that come in your life. You will be able to go through the notions that pushes us away from Him. Sometimes this Spirit, when we are open, will take you out from our comfort zone, which is difficult and challenging, and yet at the end, we will feel complete. We will feel grateful because we have come to experience God. And lastly, dear friends, you find the Spirit does one thing which the gospel tells. The Spirit glorifies and praises Jesus. And the Spirit takes everything from Jesus and tells each one of us. And whatever the Spirit reveals is from Jesus. That simply means that Spirit that glorifies Jesus and praises Jesus and teaches Jesus to all of us of His teaching, of His wonderful compassion and ministry, will also make us praise and glorify God in and through Jesus, and we will manifest it in our mission to bring about Jesus to others. Dear friends, never lose the gift of the Spirit in you, because that Spirit is not the Spirit that just guides you, but that Spirit will reveal who God is and who you and I are in this kingdom. A beautiful gift to be appreciated, a beautiful gift to be kept deep in our hearts. Dear friends, today we celebrate Father's Day. I was just looking through some of the experiences and reading some of the kind of stories of what fathers have gone through. I just want to conclude with two little testimonies. Dear fathers, you may not know, but you have done simple and yet profound things in the life of your family. There was this father who worked about 70 hours a week. That simply means long hours a day. And what brings joy to his life is not about this work. It's not about the journey that he makes to his work, to ply and to come back home. But what gave him the joy to work for all these hours in a week? And he says, this is because I love my children and I want my children to be well taken care. And as he comes back, the first thing that brings joy in his heart as a father is to see his children. And as he brings his car into the garage, you'll see the small little girl, the daughter of his, comes and gives him a hug. Dear friends, that made the father feel so blessed that the children are the most beautiful gift that he has in his life. That was one. The second testimony. This family was very poor. They had a daughter who wanted a handphone. And this father was not able to give her the handphone. And the girl will always tell the father that I want a handphone. It's just because all my friends have a handphone. And she is still very small. And then the father said, I will try my best. The father is just doing an odd job. Gets a little salary every day is paid, just enough for the family to eat everyday meals. And the father started to do an extra or 2 hours extra or 3 hours extra, overtime we call it, just to get a little more money, and he saved that money. And came one day, dear friends, he called that daughter of his and he said, girl, I have something for you and I want to give it to you. And he gave a box, a present. The girl opened and saw a new handphone is given to her. You know what the girl said? Dad, I love you so much. So, dear fathers, with that little sharing that counts about testimonies in the life of family as we celebrate Father's Day, never forget you are playing a beautiful role in the family life. You may be serious, you may be the person who talks less within the family, but your presence of who you are means so much for the family. So we thank God for the gift of you. We thank God for everything you have done. God bless you, dear fathers.